Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles. I am delighted to be joined with Narissa Lee with her fantastic film, Adrift In Sunset. But for those that haven't seen it, let's take a look at the clip.
Does she remember you?
I think I'm familiar to her, but I don't think she knows who I am.
That must be hard.
Not if I don't think about it.
Narissa, thank you for bringing your film to us. Like, it was so special on so many different levels. But for those that haven't seen your film, tell us a brief synopsis of Adrift In Sunset.
Thanks so much, Danny. Yeah, so Adrift In Sunset is about a mother and a daughter relationship, and the mother is reflecting on her own life as she's battling dementia, and then the daughter, it's a day in the life of the daughter, and she's going out on a date, and she decides to bring her mother with her, and so it's about the two of them being in their own worlds and seeing how that unfolds.
It's lovely to see the love in this film, you know, the love between mother and daughter, the love between, you know, the daughter's love interest in her mom. The whole dynamic is just stunning and beautiful to watch. For you personally, where did the inspiration come for you in deciding to turn this story into a film?
Yeah, so I love film as a medium. Yeah, every time I step away from it and I come back to it, I realize how much, how meaningful it is to put like the visual medium and then the sound and all of that and put it together and to tell a story. And so this piece was inspired by my own relationship with my mother and her battle with dementia as well. And it's a story that I couldn't not tell, if that makes any sense. There was just something really special about wanting to capture something special about a mother and daughter relationship, and in some ways it's like I don't know if it's a love letter to a mom.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Even, I think, yeah. So I think I just felt compelled to make something like that. Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad that you did, and thank you for just taking something from you and your personal experience, and then bringing it universally by creating a piece of art out of it, and a love letter, but also to help support and educate other people too, as well as entertain them. And I thought you captured all those elements so beautifully, because it was very tender to watch. It was tender to watch this love develop as well, with her daughter, and obviously that love develops, but then this kind of very familiar relationship between mother and daughter. And what's so incredible, and nobody wants to see their loved ones go through any form of change, of difficulty, but I just love the daughter. She was just so patient, had so much perseverance, and even though they may not have communicated in the same way, the core of their love and strength and feeling towards each other was just still strong. And I love how you captured that, like where I feel in those given situations where families have to go through someone with dementia, the core of that is always still binding them together and offering hope. Is that something that you wanting to kind of capture? Because I just found that so magically beautiful to experience.
Yeah, I think as a loved one sort of progresses through different stages of dementia, and in some ways there's this perpetual sense of loss, right? When that person is no longer who they were like a year ago, then it becomes like a few years, and it's just this mourning that happens. But one of the ways to really cherish that person still is to be present with them, and to be present with them in whatever way that you can be at the moment. So even if it's not the same as before, you find new ways to be present with that person. And I think that's it's bittersweet, right? So it's both
absolutely.
loss, but it's also like finding a new relationship.
I mean, I think it's always important to have someone, on your side when you're going through this, maybe with your mom or your father, etc. And in this case, there's the two young girls who are just help support each other through this process. I love that dynamic and kind of how they grew closer as the movie went on. Tell us a little bit about how that casting process was, because can't forget the mother was wonderful, and the two leading girls. Like, tell us how you brought those together and kind of what you kind of almost asked of each of those characters, because they needed to acquire quite a lot.
Yeah, thanks. So for the daughter character Dao, we did a casting process in Los Angeles. And so we had auditioned a number of different actors for that role. And Achara Kirk is the actor who we selected. She just, in her audition, she just displayed so much emotional nuance and maturity. And it was just clear that she had a sense for that, the sensitivity of that relationship. And then for my mistake, we never named Julie in the film, but her name is supposed to be Julie, which is the love interest. Sorry. She's an actor at a local theater group in San Francisco, and so we auditioned her. We auditioned a few people for that role, and she just stood out as someone who seemed like someone who could be present and really listen and be engaged. She just seemed really attentive and nurturing. So so that seemed to be a good match. And then for the mother character, that casting process, actually, my aunt, she's not blood related to me, but she's my mother's really good friend, and they've been friends since they were children. And
wow.
she actually saw my mother go through dementia. And she's actually a very funny person. And so, but also very, very caring at the same time, right? So she understood like how like the mannerisms that my mom would make during her illness. And so she would, I guess she internalized those, and she was able to bring them into her performance. And I thought she did a really good job of it. I was really surprised. I didn't think she could do it, because I thought she was just going to be a goofball because she's goofy. But she actually was able to do it. And I thought, it was a different level of being moved by her performance, because she's also someone who's close to me.
Wow. I love how it all kind of came together through different dynamics. That's amazing. Looking into Dao, for example, like how do you work as a director? Like, it's quite a backstory. It's a lot on her shoulders and her character. There's a lot of challenges and things she's having to go through and face. Like, how do you work with them? Is it improvisation, rehearsals, like, or what's your process?
Yeah, I mean, we did maybe we did one like table read, and then we did another rehearsal day of, and then and Achara was just really talented. I think she just really went for it.
Captivating, like really captivating.
Yeah, I think she did a great job. I think the scene where she's weeping. I mean, that was really just one take. I mean, I couldn't ask her to do that again. And I thought she really did weep. So she just really was so bold and just went there. And I think for the interaction between her and the other characters, it was, I think in terms of direction, it was more about, well, what is your character, how can your character sort of be supportive to the other person in this scene? So as opposed to focusing on them and what their almost, instead of telling them how to act, it was more about, well, in what ways are you relating to this other person? And I think that worked out well.
What was also so beautiful to see is, love between mother and daughter, was just the love between, the two love interests. And, me and my husband, who is African American, and he said to me, I love seeing this love. I don't see this kind of love between these two human beings on screen enough. And this is so beautiful. And it just made me cry when he said that. We were crying anyway at your film. We're constantly crying. But I'm like, it's so true. And it frustrates me because all the fear that comes, particularly, from the LGBTQ plus community and how everything is. But on top of that, we don't see enough representation enough in that community. Was that, across the board, was that something that you also was just taking into account, like just portraying this, just a beautiful love between two human beings that live and exist in this world, and we don't have enough of that on our screens? Like, was that something that was going through your head as well, Narissa?
Yeah, I think, yeah, it was important to have characters that felt real, but also, and rooted in the real world, but also, and yeah, I think, I mean, just reflective of the world that I live in as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the way that the characters are sort of effortlessly moving between languages.
Yeah, I love that. I know,
me.
it's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, and it felt really natural, right? It felt very true to the characters. So it wasn't trying to force, oh yeah, there's it wasn't like a marketing thing where it's like there's this like,
no,
this
it's
film has three languages.
Yeah, no, it was great.
Right.
And I think it's also a reflection of the world that we live in, because everybody tend to speak more than one different language through the course of their families or the surroundings. So I think it was just magically beautiful put together, and these wonderful humans coming together and expressing their love for each other. It was just wonderful to watch and witness. But also, I mean, again, I'm so obsessed with the story. I just love how kind of like they evolved as their love kind of evolved throughout this journey. Because sometimes when you're going through something really hard in your life, or one of your family members is going through something, there's kind of growth in your love with the right person. And I love how you portrayed that as well.
Yeah, I was hoping that, I mean, I think for the character, it was this maybe grounding, this relationship that was grounding her and allowed her to sort of be more reflective of her relationship with her mom, and then vice versa. So yeah, I think that was definitely a part of it, and finding the person that you really want to be with, or that you feel safe enough to be vulnerable with, helps you grow in so many ways as a person.
Absolutely. I don't have to ask this question, but I'm just so curious to ask you, Narissa, like, what is your favorite part about directing? Like, what is it that gives you that kind of buzz when you're out there on set, or even or afterwards? So what is the excitement for you?
Oh, I love I love troubleshooting.
Oh, do you?
When something's not going.
I'll call you, Narissa, for all my troubleshooting in my life.
I feel like creativity is at the edge of like when something's going right and when it's going wrong. Like there's
Mhm.
so much creativity that can come out of a situation of crisis.
Yeah. Yes.
So I do enjoy that. Yeah, very much.
That's great. Listen, that's an absolute given natural gift you have there, because not many people will say that. But I love that you said that, because as you know, things change all the time. Things change on set, and it's how you manage it on set that, you know, keeps things going, you know, and figuring things out. So, well, that's a rarity, Narissa. I love that you have that. You're going to get a lot more films knowing that that's one of your skills. Trust me. Which brings me to say, I mean, listen, we loved, I mean, this was this was part obviously of the queer women of color arts project alumni shorts program with New Filmmakers LA. The first time we combined with that, how has the experience been sharing your film? Like, with certainly we loved it at New Filmmakers LA and our audience, and I hope you had a great experience. And then how has the experience been, you know, sharing this particular film?
Yeah, I think having the opportunity to share this with other people is amazing. I think anytime that a piece of work that I do can touch someone else's life is really special, right? And in some ways, it feels like I'm connecting with people,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it's a gift, right? Um, to people, what I guess whether they like it or not.
Oh,
but
don't even worry. Yeah.
but yeah,
Well,
I'm honored to be a part of this, and so thank you for the opportunity and experience, and yeah, for watching.
Of course, of
Yeah,
course. And brings me to say, what are you next working on, Narissa?
yeah, I have some projects that I want to develop and am developing. I mean, I really enjoy speculative fiction. There's one piece that I want to do. It's about a revolutionary underground network of peasants, and um, like they're um, they're trying to overthrow like a gluttonous ruling class. So like
Oh, I
think Hunger
love it.
Games, Hunger Games / Mortal Kombat.
Oh, I love it. I'm already there. That sounds great.
Yeah, and there's there's definitely going to be people who leap very high, or flying people, or things like that. So it's action, but also political intrigue.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
and
I mean,
and
that's
just
exciting.
yeah, just salt of the earth type people.
Well, that is very exciting. I'm already ready for it. So looking forward to when that happens. Just want to close with a question for you. For anybody out there that's watching this, that's an aspiring filmmaker, wants to follow in your footsteps, or in what, is there any kind of advice that you could maybe share that you kind of go by, that you could maybe share with our audience?
Yeah, I think if you want to tell stories, if you want to do filmmaking or TV writing or whatever, I think always practicing your craft and writing, doing a lot of writing if you want to make films, right? Or if you want to tell your stories, is to constantly practice what it is that you want to do, and then being kind to the people that you meet, and making those connections with people who are very talented, and you want to maintain those relationships. So yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Maintains relationships. It was very hard because I hopefully most people that will watch this have seen your film, but we also have to keep things. But you know, I just want to finish, like, Narissa, that very special moment in the film, and I'm sure you know which one it is. That was just, I mean, it was just so, I couldn't breathe watching it. It was just so mesmerizing, and a shot of a movie that I will never forget, you know, because it meant so much in so many different ways, and will mean so much to others that we watching it, or other people can relate to it or learn or educate. I just want to say thank you, because that I think was a masterpiece move in what you captivated there. So, you know, so for those that haven't seen, you got to watch it now, or watch it again. But no, listen, Narissa, we love your film. Thank you so much. Narissa Lee, I can't wait to see much more of your projects. I'm waiting to go underground next. So we're going to go and overtake and overthrow. So that's exciting. But thank you for your film. We really, really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks so much.